This is the Shift Asia. I'm Frida Liu. A World Summit Awards, or WSA, is a global competition recognizing digital innovations that positively impact society. It connects startups, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders across 182 UN member states, promoting digital solutions that address local challenges and advance the UN SDGs. In 2023, 𝐰𝐞𝐞𝐭, co-founder and CEO of Proficio, was appointed as the national expert for the WSA. So every year, upwards of 900 nominations are submitted by national experts from around the world, where only 5 global winners in 8 categories are selected by a global jury. I'm here with the national nominee in the health and well-being category in 2023, Huddle. Huddle brings everyday athletes together through the love of the game, whatever the game. While we can't all be pro stars, Huddle unites sports lovers through the spirit, competition, and joy that come with playing sports. Now, beyond sports, the community. This platform is created to improve the amateur sports experience in the region and around the world. And whether you're a player, coach, parent, or organizer, Huddle gives you more before, during, and after the game. I'm here with founder Andri of Air Up There Technologies. And of course, the platform is Huddle. And I guess let's start with the inspiration in starting Huddle. What got you there?
It was really a combination of the passion for sport and wanting to be able to actually highlight athletes that aren't getting the attention they deserve. As an athlete myself, although I might not look like it anymore, I really wanted to be able to provide some sort of way to be able to showcase amateur athletes. 99% of sport actually isn't broadcasted, isn't shown in any way. Only the pros get the attention. And I thought that wasn't right, especially in Malaysia, where there's a lot of talent that goes unnoticed because we just don't know about it.
What was your sport?
I actually played basketball.
Oh, so that's your thing,
That's
basketball, right?
That's right.
So how does it work? You know, you say there's no shape. How does Huddle work?
So what Huddle is actually a centralized content platform. We really focus on what's the broadcasting portion of it first, because that is actually like almost the most distinct coverage of the game, right? You want to be able to watch it. From there, then we kind of break it down. We provide statistics, analytics, data, so that you can actually track an athlete's career throughout their progress. So if I'm an organizer, I want to be able to say I've run this competition from 5 years. In the past, you wouldn't have any history of that. Right. Now with Huddle, you would. As a player, let's say I played in an under 14 competition, now I'm 21, I want to be, or maybe I'm 18, I want to get a scholarship. I want to show that, hey, I've provided, I've done national level things, showcase that. Before, you would not really have a record, but with Huddle, we've already shown that, hey, you know, this athlete has moved up in the ranks and he's played in the national stage and he can get a scholarship for that.
Right, and you're saying that we don't get the attention. It's so interesting, and it's something to be proud of, right? And interesting scenarios that you've given me now. So apparently, and the figures could be wrong because I got it from your website, the platform has served over 30,000 users and 100 plus sports organizers, providing live games, statistics, and content for over 4,000 plus games, right? I don't know the stats, maybe they're updated.
It's closer to 5,000 right now.
Wow, okay. But what kind of sport seems to be most popular, or do you choose the sports, or is it the community that chooses the sports?
It's a combination, actually. It's a good point, right? So what we really are focused on are the youth sports. So high school sports is a big deal for us because those are the athletes that have the most to gain from some sort of recognition, right? Whether it's scholarships. We also focus on the underserved kind of sports as well, underserved communities. We try to showcase women's sports. But in terms of sports themselves, it's basketball, football. Those are the ones which have the strongest presence in the grassroots that we can provide the most coverage for.
Oh, so that's interesting, you know. Okay, obviously football, yes, you know, Malaysians love it. And you were saying what? Basketball.
Yeah. You'll be surprised, actually, because there's a number of open parks that have basketball courts. I know badminton's very popular, but it's not as easy to cover, or maybe it's too easy to cover in a sense, because if you wanted to cover basketball, you'd have to have a camera, someone rotating the camera, live streaming. So it's a lot more difficult for organizers to kind of figure that out. Right. For us, because we're using an AI camera to be able to track everything, it actually makes things a lot easier. So basketball has a lot of popularity in Malaysia. You'd be surprised.
I know. So that was quite surprising for me. I'm sure has Paddle come in yet? Paddle and your pickle?
You know what? Pickle specifically, I've had like maybe 3 organizers in the past 2 weeks say, hey, can you do the same thing for pickle? Which is interesting. Yeah. Which is very interesting.
Okay, so in terms of what you do as well, I'm sure it's attracted competition as well, right? And I guess what are the barriers to starting something similar? It looks easy, but I'm sure.
Yeah, so right from the outset, I think education is a big deal. So getting the organizers to understand, hey, we're not just a live stream company. We actually are focused on providing this holistic view of your competition, covering the content, getting stats and data, all of these things that generally an organizer wouldn't have. And as from a player standpoint, now understanding that, hey, come to Huddle, watch Huddle, then progress that through there. Like, make sure that every time you sign up on Huddle, every competition you play in, he'll track you, all of those things because this is something that hasn't existed before, right? Trying to educate them on that.
Okay, maybe you can give me an example. I don't know. Sure. I know you mentioned a client out there, so feel free to mention your name if it's okay. But so say a brand comes to you, what are they? What's the? How does that work? And what's in it for them when they come in?
Sure. Yeah. So there's two ways to do this. So what happens is where it originates from is actually the organizer itself. So the sports organizer says, hey, I've got a competition that I want to be able to cover. What can you do for me? And we'll tell them, okay, this is the package. You come in, we'll cover your sports. We can also help link you to the brands that are interested in getting this kind of access. Okay. Right? So we function, a lot of organizers don't have that kind of expertise, the business expertise to go put together a proposal that says this many eyeballs, this kind of thing. So we kind of help commercialize or commoditize their sport, basically. Sell it back to the brands. At the same time, with all of that data that we're capturing, we can actually break that down and then sell that back to the parents that want highlights, you want to put together a highlight package for your college application. We've had a number of those already. They come together and say, hey, I've played a number of years throughout the past couple of years. Can you help put something together? So we've helped people do that. A couple of people have actually gotten jobs as well, basketball overseas, smaller leagues, but they've gotten jobs overseas with the packages we've got.
So are your users beyond Malaysia at the moment?
Mainly centered in Malaysia. We have a goal to kind of this year to be able to expand outside of Malaysia, going to Singapore or Indonesia. A couple of leagues have asked whether we could do something for them as well. Something we're exploring.
Okay, so it needs to have a bit of a demand for you to justify.
Correct, because there is an entry point that we'll have to be able to cover. Say, an organizer needs to say, okay, we'll cover this many games for you, how many participants, just to understand what the impact is. At the same time, honestly, if there was more impactful, underserved community angle that I would love to be able to go in. If you tell me, there's a women's league that needs coverage, I would be more inclined to do so, because we really believe that women are underrepresented in sports.
Yeah. And what is your business model? You're dependent on these sponsors?
So actually it's three ways. So where the organizer comes in is if they want some coverage on the basic level, we do charge them a small amount, much lower than getting an OB van out there to cover or something like that, definitely. At the same time, we monetize through the brands that come in who want to be able to sponsor, get a little bit of demographics that they're looking for. The third one is actually we do the B2C route where the customers themselves, even if they will score one basket, they want to have proof of that, right? That's the thing. So we definitely, we do charge them a small amount to be able to cut your highlights, get statistics. We've had teams who've actually looked for analysis, like, hey, can you help analyze our game for us and give us the stats for that? So we tell them things as well using the proprietary AI that we've got.
Right, so interesting. Now, how have you measured, I know this was because you were nominated in the sports category, how have you measured your impact when it comes to health and well-being?
Sure, so what we really look at, if you really think about it, because we've got, let's say, 5,000 games right now. So that's approximate, that's, when you cut it down, I don't remember the exact number, it's about 135,000 athletes. So we already know that we've got participants, 135 players have come through the system, we've already covered them, right? We've talked about specifically the women's angle, so we know how many women's sports participation rates that we've got, youth participation rates that we've got. Those are the measurables that we can say, hey, they're performing, they're playing. If we really wanted to get down to the nitty gritty, we could do averages of, okay, the average athlete burns how many calories per game that they play in, right? All of those things are things that, because of all the data we've collected, we've already got that as what we measure.
And women are what, playing football?
Women are playing basketball, football. Of course, the favorite is netball. We're trying to cover that. So those are the kind of games that we see a lot of participation, specifically basketball. You'd be surprised. There's quite a strong following in basketball for women.
Oh, okay, so what are some of the trends you see, when it comes to technology and sports globally? I mean, one of the things I noticed on Netflix now, they're doing this live telecast and all that,
Correct.
right? I mean, that's one
Correct.
aspect, but what else
Correct.
are you seeing
So,
happening?
when it comes to sports trends right now, you're seeing a lot of AI making an impact. Of course, AI is making an impact in everything, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of things when it comes down to analysis of performance, down to how I'm moving, how I'm playing. There's a virtual reality or augmented reality aspect. You can see a lot of the Premier Leagues are like saying, hey, get courtside access, right? Instead of actually being at the game, you're putting on your VR goggles and I'm there, right? There's also, from an engagement standpoint, you got a lot of things like augmented reality for like, hey, I'm taking a photo with my favorite player right here, right? I stand in front of this display and he appears or the whole team appears around me and I can take a photo. Those are the kind of things that you kind of see. But a lot of it, what really interests me is the AI portion. We do use AI to broadcast games, to cover games, so we capture the entirety of the field and the AI kind of mirrors that broadcast view, right? So it reduces we don't need manpower, no one's turning a camera, it's just AI involved. But when it comes to data and analysis, that's the kind of stuff that I think that there's a lot to be able to sit with AI to be able to analyze shot motions, how they're working, to be able to pull out stats automatically right off the bat from any game that's been captured. Those are the kind of things that I'm quite interested in.
How long did it take to develop the initial technology behind what you were doing?
So a lot of the stuff is leveraged off whatever the bits and pieces of things that exist. What we're really focused on more, although the technology is interesting, what I'm really focused on is that building of that community around that, right? That's what it really is. The technologies, it helps enable, but I mean, between you and me, you know it, right? It's exciting, but what really drives it, what really sustains it, is going to be the community behind it.
Right, and so that's your focus as well, right? And I guess your plans for 2025? Going overseas?
Yeah, definitely moving overseas. Definitely trying to get more coverage, more games on platform as much as I can. Again, I know our wheelhouse. If you go to the site, basketball, football, really strong, and I love that. But there are a lot of other sports that just aren't getting the coverage. I would love to be able to go. You know, I'm talking about this. I've spoken with the 𝐰𝐴. They're doing football for women's that at a higher level that I'd love to be able to get some coverage from. Netball as well, bola jarring. There's some national competitions that I'd love to be able to cover. Because those are the kind of things that people don't even understand. Like they think netball's like kind of not exciting, and it is. I've watched. I mean, coming from basketball, fine. I think basketball's the bigger game. But when I watch netball, hey, they are athletes. They're still making shots. They're still running the court, right? And you wouldn't know that otherwise.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add, Andri, that I haven't asked you yet?
I think when it comes down to what Huddle really represents, I mean, I know I did touch on the technology, but what I really feel is that sports is not just a pastime or a distraction. It's a key part of life. You learn so many life skills from it. Health is an obvious plus. And from every health metric that we have, we are in desperate need of more healthy lifestyle, right? So all of those things are very obvious, but in reality, if you talk about when parents worry about their kids playing sports, distracting them from studies, there's numerous studies that have shown that people who play sports are actually better cognitively. Now, this is the kind of things that all those things that we want to try to put together. I know it might not be a core Huddle feature, but these are the education points that I really want to get out. Like sport is important to life. It's not just a distraction or a pastime.
Right, sports is life, right? Thanks, Andri, for sharing. Very interesting what you're doing with Huddle. You're watching The Shift Asia.